like to call to order the Tuesday, September 19, 2017 Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Neal?
Here.
Mrs. Barcheck?
Here.
Mr. Singer?
Here.
Mr. Hennings?
Here.
Mr. Over?
Here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is district opening. Please fill me in on, please fill me in on this.
We got two different things this morning, or this afternoon. We have something I've been talking to you a little bit about, and there was an article actually in the Sun News recently about our preschool getting that national award. So I asked our preschool teachers if they would come forward and talk a little bit about their program and that award. So, ladies, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming tonight.
So thank you for having us. I'm Courtney Seaman,
I'm Brittany Hubble.
and we are the preschool teachers here at Brooklyn. We're very happy to be back with you again to tell you what's been happening in preschool lately. So our plan this evening is just to give you a little overview of our program, share some exciting news that we've recently received, and tell you about some of the fun and educational programming we have coming up this year.
So just a little bit about our preschool is that we're currently serving 45 students ranging in ages 3 to 5 years old. We serve both typically developing peers and students that receive special education services. And we are a UPK site, which stands for Universal Pre-Kindergarten, which I'll let Courtney talk a little bit about.
So you may have heard of an organization called Invest in Children. Invest in Children runs throughout Cuyahoga County, and it's comprised of a variety of private and public organizations, and their goal is to provide quality early childhood programming so that all children are ready for school when they get to kindergarten. So UPK, or Universal Pre-Kindergarten, is one component of Invest in Children, and that's the part that applies to us at preschool. To be endorsed as a UPK site, you need to have or comply with the strict requirements for endorsement that are set out by the program. Those include having highly educated teachers, low teacher-child ratios, and forming strong family partnerships throughout the community.
So one of the things we have at our preschool is the action team, and that helps to engage the families and create a welcoming climate. So it's comprised of both teachers, administrators, and parents. And we develop a one-year action plan at the beginning of each year, and then we continue to meet throughout the year, roughly about once a month, to work on that plan and how we're going to follow through.
So through our work on the action team for the past 2 years, we were actually recognized a year ago, and more recently again within the past few weeks, by the National Network of Partnership Schools. And NNPS actually provides the model that we follow for our action team. So we were also, in addition to receiving that award, we were acknowledged in their Promising Partnership Practices book that is published annually. We've been recognized in that book for several ongoing years and will be again this year. So we're very excited about that. The Partnership School Award that we did receive again this year, we are one of 10 schools nationwide to have been recognized for our work in family engagement, and we receive special recognition for our work, the promise that we show, and the practices that we implement throughout our program. So the link is there. We don't necessarily need to look at it now, but if you would like to read a little snapshot of who we are and the work that we're doing, feel free to take a look there.
Appreciate it.
So as part of the award, and the family engagement piece, we submit different events that we do with our family engagement throughout the year. So the event that we submitted from this past year was our event called Pollock with Papas, and we actually worked with the Children's Museum of Cleveland. Some ladies from there came in to teach the students and a special guest. So this was a special role model or other visitors that came in, and they learned about the style of Jackson Pollock, and they got to create their own Jackson Pollock paintings that were on display with their family members. And 2 years ago, this was the event that we submitted, although we have done this event more than once, our Gingerbread with Grandparents event. So grandparents or other special role models came in the classroom. They got to create their own gingerbread cookies and gingerbread houses, and we actually had a gingerbread social later on that evening to share those treats with families as well. And we just noted that this event met several of our preschool standards, our early learning standards that we lesson plan off of, such as understanding that print has meaning through recipes and combining shapes to create a new shape like building gingerbread houses.
One of the biggest pieces of our program that we were acknowledged for both years, and which Brittany and I are especially proud of, is Conscious Discipline. Conscious Discipline is a social and emotional program that teaches children strategies to self-regulate and also teaches adults skills and scripts to use with children to promote their self-regulation and social and emotional skills. So the staff at Brooklyn, some of us have been trained, some of us will be going through training in Conscious Discipline this year. So that's one component of the program so that we can implement it in the classrooms. But there is also a home piece to Conscious Discipline. So we have offered for the past several years and are offering again this year parenting workshops on Conscious Discipline. So we invite someone who has been fully trained in Conscious Discipline to come and give the parent strategies and to help familiarize them with the program. So we received special recognition from NNPS for our work through the Conscious Discipline program. So new this year for Conscious Discipline, Brittany and I are in the process of putting together a mobile library for our parents and guardians to access. We recently placed a large order with Conscious Discipline to order some of their parenting manuals, the manuals that we use, small picture books that can be read to children to help them learn new strategies. There's social and emotional CDs, music CDs, all kinds of great stuff. So our vision is to purchase a mobile cart that will house those materials, and we will make it available to our families. We're looking at roughly once a week at arrival and dismissal so that the parents can borrow those materials from us as long as they like, and hopefully if they're not able to attend our workshops in person or in addition to attending the workshops, they can have access to those resources to use at home.
And then continuing with our family engagement, we already have some great events scheduled for this year. Actually, on Thursday, it will be our first event for the year in the workshop with mommies, where the Children's Museum will come back in, and we'll be doing some woodwork with moms or special female role models. We also have In the Jungle with Grandparents scheduled with the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, and then later on in the year In the Backyard with Daddies or other male role models.
So thank you for taking the time to let us come in and share all the fun things that are happening in preschool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Nice seeing you, Ms. Hubble. You know, we typically don't get to hear a little bit of what preschool is all about. I mean, somehow they get missed the mark, so I thought with getting that award was a good opportunity to kind of highlight that program. Good segue to what I was going to go to next, and that was also our state report card came in. And one of the items with that that's significant is, you know, students who attend preschool, our preschool, their achievement rate is much higher when it comes down to 3rd and 4th grade reading. So I want to just kind of go through and give you kind of a snapshot of this. Myself and Mrs. Bodencheck and Ms. Barczyk, we talked a little bit about this today, but I want to give you kind of an overview. I think we should have a work session at some point to kind of go take a deeper dive. But just because this came out on Thursday, I think it's good that we do it. And of course, the clicker won't work. So overall, this is the overall card in terms of the different grades here. You know, they give you the component grades, and I'm going to go into each of these a little bit, but in some of the things that you hear about with each of these particular pieces. So let's take them one by one. The achievement, because what I wanted to do was show you how we did last year relative to this year. So I got the last year's scores and then this year's scores there. You're going to see that the component grade, the performance index indicators met were all the same. What are these things? The performance index is the piece that when they look at how well the kids scored, advanced, accelerated, proficient, so forth, they get a points, and they score it, and they give you a number. Our number was 94.3 out of 120. That, in terms of the score, our point system and our percentage, we actually went up 3.1 points from last year. Nevertheless, this is the one that when some folks are saying to me, well, how are we ranked 534th, or how do they do that? This is the one piece that the paper uses to actually rank schools. The one item. So, again, why they choose that, maybe because it's a compilation of all the scores and how well they did, perhaps. But again, that's only one item that they're ranking you on. Indicators met, obviously, that's an area that we're very concerned about. We didn't meet any of the indicators, and the percentage of passages needed now is 80%. Gap closing, another area that certainly you get an F, and it's kind of a punch in the gut. Looking at what we did last year, the percentage was 25.9%. Have we increased that percentage? Yes, but it's still the same letter grade. I guess we're closing the gap, not to the rate that we'd like to be doing. I should say that gap closing again is when you look at all your different subgroups. Again, you're looking at the different subgroups of students. So you're not just looking as a whole. Now remember, there's about 10 different subgroups that are identified by the state of Ohio. Brooklyn City Schools actually has 8 of those 10 subgroups within there. And you need at least 30 students to comprise a particular subgroup. K-3 literacy, again, I don't think I need to reiterate that more with what we heard tonight with preschool. If a student can read by the 3rd grade, their success rate is exponentially higher, all throughout school and actually in life. We received a C last year, we received a C this year on this. Again, how they look at this is they look at diagnostics and how well kids, are they back on track from the year before? Progress measure. Progress measure again is one, how did kids do from year to year? Where achievement says, well, how well do they understand the concepts at a particular point in time? Progress, though, measures how well did kids actually learn during the past year. I think this is an important one in particular. You'll notice that this is a component that we received a B grade on last year as well as this year. But if you look at this, we also did well overall with our gifted students, or I should say we improved in our gifted students area there. The other scores are the same. This gets interesting though when you start to break this down by schools, because our intermediate school and our high school both get progress grades. You'll notice that the high school's progress grade improved during this past year. Where do you see that improvement? You see it really with a couple of groups of students. Students in the lowest 20% had great growth. Students with disabilities, their growth improved during the past year. Hence, that the component grade improved from a D to a C. You look at Brooklyn Intermediate School, again, our students in 4 through 7, their component grade also improved. Theirs went from a B last year to an A this year. If you look down, again, where did they improve upon? Students who are deemed as gifted, they received an A, as well as our students with disabilities did better in growth this past year as well. So overall, progress is something that was improved greatly in the district. Graduation rate. Again, they determine that. They have 2 different metrics there. They have a 4-year graduation rate and a 5-year graduation rate. In the 4-year rate, actually it improved by nearly over 6%, up to 91.5. The 5-year graduation rate actually dipped just a small bit. And then prepared for success. Again, this item, this metric actually includes a lot of different things, as you'll notice. Just for example, ACT participation, SAT participation, dual enrollment credits, IB, which we don't have, credentials, and so forth. And they put them all together and they determine, how well the kids have done with the percentages of that. So what they do is they come up with that percentage and then it deems a particular score. you'll notice that the grade was a C in both years. So, again, I think this is one that we can continue to grow upon because of the things we're trying to do with our kids and the opportunities we're trying to give them in high school. So, the report card is online. We've attached it to the district website. Again, I think this is one of those things that we really need to sit down as a board with, Ms. Bobencheck and really kind of take a deeper dive. Because one of the things I think we'd like to share is, what are the things that we're doing to try to improve that? In particular with the achievement as well as, the progress measure, because those are the two things. You want kids to learn each year, and you also want them to learn and achieve at the levels relative to what is expected. So, but I wanted to give you kind of a highlight of that this evening. And obviously the piece that went out last week, and I'll send a copy of this down with you as well. The quality profile, which we have online and have shared with folks as well. Again, the report card tells a story, but I think we wanted to also enhance that story with our district quality profile. And
Is this the one we're gonna take the new picture?
Thanks. Thanks.
we planned for it.
Plan for it.
We'll get the new picture online.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's it. We'll do it on the online version. Nevertheless, this is a good outline that really, I think, enhances the good things that are happening, but it also enhances the challenges that we have. I think we've talked a lot about where we are, financially, and, there's some fiscal facts, but we also put some fiscal challenges in there. But, we highlight a great program like our preschool in here, the programs of Polaris, our connections with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. There's so many good things that a district report card, a state report card, doesn't necessarily tell us. And I think that this helps fill some of those gaps. So,
These are available in the.
we have them just about every place.
Superintendent's office, high school office.
All offices. I've sent them with, actually there can be seen probably in a few of the banks around town. I've given it to some of our folks around the city, so.
Good.
So we're gonna have those available, and now we're gonna have even more of them there, so. But that is the kind of district opening. Want to give you kind of highlights of that, so.
Good. Now we're going to go comments from visitors. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in the effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his/her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During that period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak had had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Anybody? We'll go on to the superintendent's report.
Love it. More of me, just what everybody wants. I'm going to hand this down. This is probably going to be a less conventional superintendent's report tonight, because I gave you a couple of things in the district opening. On tonight's agenda is a first reading of some policy recommendations. And so what I wanted to provide you was kind of an overview of those, to kind of give you just an idea of some of the things that are happening and what revisions we have. So I'm going to try to do this quickly without, because there's really just a few here that I want to kind of highlight, but I'll go over them, and if you have questions about those, I can do so. The first one there, appointment to JVS District Board. As we know, Mr. Ober's our board representative for the JVS for Polaris. The Senate Bill 3 is now allowing districts to appoint an individual who isn't necessarily on the Board of Education. So they could do that if they would like. So that's the revised bylaw there. The next one there's district-sponsored clubs and activities. This is related to College Credit Plus. They're saying that if a student's in College Credit Plus, they cannot be precluded from being in a district activity. Sometimes there has happened in some districts where, coaches were saying, hey, you went to that college class, so now you can't, you missed practice. Well, not so fast. You can't necessarily do that. The next one about recording of district meetings, there's actually new technologies that are coming out that that allow you actually to listen in on a conversation that's occurring and you wouldn't even know it. And this is a policy that Neola has said you should include because it does not allow that. It doesn't allow someone to be recorded or be listened to a conversation without their knowledge of somebody knowing that. State of Ohio in Senate Bill 3 has put that next policy, 2623, in there about limiting student testing to 2% of the school year. As I said in my notes, I'm curious to see how the state of Ohio is going to police this one. I think it's a great idea, but I'm also trying to figure out how they're going to continue to monitor things like that. 3120.08, that's pretty much a one about all employee licensure, particularly part-time. They have to have the pupil activity permits. It means also that, as treasurer, Mr. Street can't pay those folks without those activity program permits of that particular person. The next policy there at the end of the first page, eligibility of residents, non-resident student. The state of Ohio is establishing a safe-at-home address confidentiality program. What it does is actually, it really is a safeguard for student information and confidentiality. That was a result of a House bill. Looking at the next page, I'm going to talk about the two policies together, 5200 and 5610. They're on attendance and removal and suspension, expulsion, and permanent exclusion of students. Those are related to House Bill 10. That's you probably remember this House bill from some of my board reports. This is the one that really tells schools and school districts to now say, hey, you can't just suspend a kid for being tardy or missing school. You have to come up with a plan of action in order to try to make sure that they're here at school. And so House Bill 10 does that. And so it changes policies according to the new state House bill.
Mark, this says House Bill 410, is that correct?
Did I say something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
House
Yeah,
Bill
it's House
410.
Bill 410. The next one, 5630, positive behavior intervention and supports and limited use of restraint and seclusion. This has been a policy that I think has gone through revisions, it seems, over the last several years. Obviously, putting more definition of what that means by restraining students in seclusion. We as educators have used terms like timeout in the past. Well, now they're saying, what does timeout actually mean? And what they're doing is really putting safeguards in place so that students are being supervised in some of those situations. The next couple there are financial ones, purchases and procurement per Senate Bill 3. What the big piece of that is that the bid threshold has now gone from $25,000 to $50,000, meaning that if we wanted to make a purchase on something that was in the area of like $40,000 to $45,000, we don't have to go out for public bid necessarily now on that. So it gives some districts a little more flexibility on situations. 6423, use of credit cards. It prohibits the use of a credit card for cash withdrawal transactions. I kind of half chuckle because I was talking with Mr. Street about this one when it came down, and we never have credit cards used in that fashion here. And I don't know of a school district that uses
Right.
credit cards in that fashion. So,
That's trouble.
yeah, that would be trouble. School calendar 8210. This one is the policy revision eliminates the requirement that asking ODE approval for online lessons or the Blizzard bags, you probably recall when those became vogue a few years back. So no longer is that necessary. 8310, 8320, 8330 all have to do with public records, personnel files, and student records. Again, part of that House Bill 359 that pertains to the newly established Ohio Safe at Home address confidentiality. Again, these policies had to be changed relative to that because it protects that information if students are involved in that particular program. 8452 AEDs. We have a number of AEDs here around the school district, but what you need to understand is this actual policy talks about what training is necessary for us as school personnel relative to those AEDs. 8500 is probably one you've heard a little bit about. We've talked about this one, the food services piece, because we addressed that with some guidelines on what we would do when, parents started to accrue debt and unpaid meal charges. This is actually the policy that goes along with that. 5111, 5113, homeless students, children, youth in foster care, and 8340 letters of reference. This is actually a protection law as well. It's part of the new ESSA law, which again is the child of No Child Left Behind. What it essentially does is it kind of protects our students. It protects our homeless students. Letters of reference, we as a school district could not write a supportive letter about an employee who we know or we have reasonable cause is engaged in some sort of activity that it would be a misappropriation, or an impropriety of some type. And then 8300 there, continuity of organizational operations and information security. Again, the Edgar policies, federal regs, these are more technology pieces. They should have a plan in place to address crises when they occur. Emergency operations plan developing over the last 3 years. This is an interesting one because we've been fully aware of a lot of the federal regulations with crises in place. The district has had an emergency operations plan over the last several years. Believe it or not, one of the pieces we did at the beginning of the year, which was kind of a big event, a nice event, which was an all-district pep rally down at the stadium, actually was a good kind of also a manner for us to also practice how we would get down to the stadium. Because the stadium is one of our areas that we would evacuate to in a crisis situation here at the school district. So although it was an activity when we got there as a fun activity, it was also an activity of how we were actually going to transport our students down in a orderly fashion down to the stadium. So we kind of, on that afternoon, kind of killed two birds with one stone there. So those are kind of the overview of the policies. I know I went quickly through that, but if you've got questions in particular, I can try to go through those, and I'll certainly sit down with the policy committee on that as well.
Sounds
So,
good.
All right,
Your report?
that is my report for this
Got it.
evening.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
On to Mr. Street.
Oh, the only items I have tonight is, I have some training with the auditor's office on Friday that I'll be attending, and then, next, thing coming up would be a required investment training with the state auditor's office, state treasurer's office in that case, and I will be attending that, within the next, couple of weeks, so that's all I have for you tonight, unless there's any questions.
Investment trading, how much we gonna make?
Not very much.
I got you, buddy. I appreciate that. On to committee reports and from board members. We're gonna go on to Mrs. Barczyk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. On I'm sure everyone's had a good start to the school year. It started off very well. We've enjoyed some nice cool weather, and now we're kind of getting a little bit of, warm kind of fall weather coming in here. But I think that it's definitely appreciated, because before we know it, that four-letter word snow will be here, and we'll be talking about blizzard bags and calamity days and all that good stuff. I'd like to congratulate the marching band who represented Brooklyn so well, the Pride of Brooklyn, at North Royalton Band Show this past weekend. I would like to congratulate our sports teams that are doing so well, that are representing Brooklyn well. And I'd like to say that I've walked around the buildings and seen the kids in the classrooms and the wonderful things that we're doing here. And I'm proud of all of them and all the work that they're doing, and a good start to the school year. And I can always be reached at 216-406-4304. Thank you, Mr. President.
You got it. On to Mr. Singer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I'm hoping that all of our students here in Brooklyn are getting comfortable with their class schedules and extracurricular activities. I cannot tell you, as a parent and school board member, how proud I am of all of our fall athletes, our honor and merit roll students, band members, and those students involved in the Brooklyn community as volunteers. This could not be accomplished without your commitment to success in doing more than what is required of you. This too could not have happened without the support of our parents, volunteers, coaches, and staff. They are truly the unsung heroes of our Brooklyn schools. The reason why I say this, because I saw firsthand, this past weekend, along with Mrs. Barczyk, some of the pride that I saw the parents and the students at the band competition North Royalton this past Saturday, but also at the sporting events. I see a lot of Brooklyn pride at the football games and through some of the booster groups as well. What saddens me is when I read Facebook pages and I see people complaining about the city of Brooklyn and Brooklyn schools, and I see that they're missing out on some of the opportunities that I see and experience by attending some of the Brooklyn school events. It is in this spirit that also I count on all of you, voters and citizens, in November, when we ask our Brooklyn City school supporters to rally and vote to keep our facilities in world-class condition. We must all continue to ensure that our schools are safe and conducive to learning. The one thing I did notice Saturday night in North Royalton was, and I mentioned this to Mr. Hennings, was the abundance of advertising at our stadium of local local businesses who advertise at the stadium. I'd like to perhaps get involved a little bit more in that, but maybe with our superintendent and some of the staff, on maybe soliciting some of our Brooklyn businesses and see if they would put up a banner or poster at the stadium, and perhaps even make a little bit of money doing so. But what's nice, the goodwill behind that is the fact that when people come to our games at the stadium or even to our auditoriums, they see that the local community, local business community, supports their schools as well. I was quite impressed with what I saw in North Royalton. I'd like to mimic that. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, but maybe find out how they did it, and perhaps we can duplicate that by going to our businesses and community for some sponsorship ads. I can be reached at 216-978-1931. That's my cell phone. I get text messages. Or you can reach me at rick.singer@brooklyn.k12.oh.us. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. On to Mr. Hennings.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like everybody to keep John Candaris Jr. in your prayers. He was the quarterback that got hurt Friday night for Brooklyn. He dislocated his ankle and fractured his leg, so he's going to be out for the rest of the season. It's not easy for a kid like that who is a three-sport kid. He's very gifted when it comes to sports, and right now he's definitely depressed. I think a card or something from the school, the Board of Education, letting him know that everybody's behind him, and we're here if he needs it. Second, I want to thank Dr. Glykoff and his staff for being at the stadium on Friday nights. People have been getting a little tired of all the crazy kids running around, and Mr. Wingler, that's the assistant, the one he was throwing them out left and right. Time to go home. You got a problem with it? You have your parents call me, you won't be coming back. He looked at me and said, "You have a problem?" I said, "No, you need help. Just I'll give you a hand." Out the door they go.
You'd have been one of those kids in that school,
Yeah.
for sure.
We also, I believe we implemented the no backpack policy with these kids.
games,
The
yes.
auxiliaries were finding baseball bats in the backpacks. So parents, don't let your kids come to the sporting events with backpacks. They'll be taken from them and they can have them back when they leave. There's no reason for anybody to bring baseball bats or anything else to the game. We've got plenty of law enforcement there and plenty of staff there to, keep you safe. Also, I do want to congratulate the boys football team. They had 2 wins right off the bat, so that's great. I know their season is down a little with John being out, so they're all a little depressed about that. But Sean keeps telling them they're going to be winners, and so they're trying to stick with that. If I don't mention the girls volleyball team, they're going to choke me. So right now they're also playing down at the state the gymnasium. They're presently 6-1 and playing Fairview tonight. So anybody wants to go down there and watch them, go ahead. I really want to congratulate the boys middle school. They beat Fairview last week. I think that was the first game they won in 3 years. And I do believe the girls middle school volleyball team won yesterday, didn't they?
The 8th grade team.
8th grade. Okay, 8th grade team.
The 7th graders are working hard. They're going to get it soon.
Yeah. So the things are looking up for sports. We're winning quite a beat here. The soccer team, they're still working on their first win, along with the girls soccer. Also, drop Brianna Hanema get well card. She broke her leg in the soccer game last week too. Logan's kind of bummed about that one. That's his girlfriend, so he doesn't have to worry about going to see her now. And I think that's all I have. Thank you very much.
You got it, thanks. On to Mr. Oper.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a tough act to follow. But I'll try.
Yes, it is.
I'd like to thank the preschool teachers for coming up. I mean, being one of only 10 schools in the nation is
Quite
certainly
impressive,
definitely
right.
noteworthy. We had a players' board meeting last week, and we reviewed the enrollment data for this school year for the high school and overall enrollment in general. Satellite enrollment was started 3 years ago with 736 students, and now it's almost 3,300. Brooklyn currently has 246 in gateway courses and 73 in pre-engineering. We have 108 juniors and seniors attending the Polaris campus, which amounts to 48% of our juniors and seniors, which is almost double of every other school in the consortium. Adult education also enjoys a profit. I found it interesting that at the close of the 2007-2008 school year, 10 years ago, adults attending Polaris were 274, and at the close of this past year was only 271. This can be attributed to the economy doing better. When the economy does better, then adults aren't looking out for a second job, because enrollment was up to almost 450 during the recession. Plans continue to be made for the renovation, with the staff taking an active role in designing work areas and architects and the construction firm. Well, as you mentioned, the scorecard is out. Are we happy with the results? No, we're not. Totally. There's improvement to be needed, but as I stated last month, due to the way the scorecard is set up, it doesn't tell the whole story. I've been in, most of my professional career has been in quality assurance, and the point of quality assurance has always been continuous improvement, and every one of those slides showed continuous improvement. Obviously, with the letter grades, kind of just cuts whatever progress you're making, it just cuts it down. If we compare ourselves with the other first-string suburbs, we stack up very well. I've spoken to the other members in other districts, not just first-string board members or my colleagues on the Polaris board, but other board members that in districts that have exemplary remarks. They also find fault with the scorecard, and several confided that they are aware of inadequacies in their districts that the scorecard didn't even take into account. Just as the scorecard highlight which can be perceived as bad, they also miss the good. As I've stated, we know we're doing good things here, as Dr. Kleikoff has mentioned, and we know this. We know we need to improve on things, and we know where those areas are, and the administration has a plan to address those areas. Finally, just echo previous comments. Congratulations to the football team and the other sports teams for doing well this fall. And as always, I can be reached at james.oper@brooklyn.k12.oh.us or 216-485-8195. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Oper. I was fortunate enough to walk around the school yesterday and saw that we added some Chromebooks to the young ones. You know, that is part of my goal as far as technology goes, and technology committee, if there's a way we can get one-on-one to every kid in this school, or at least in the youth, it'll be very enlightening to me. Went into the classroom and saw that, and I was like, wow, okay, we're getting there. So I'm pretty happy with that. Kids were pretty excited. Actually, the teachers were very excited about it, to be quite honest. And I sort of was in the school, probably in the elementary school for at least half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And I saw four different classrooms that had them, so I'm quite impressed. So the goal of the technology committee is to try to get one for every kid, you know, and that's part of the November 7th
Issue 58.
ballot, issue 58, which we need a positive reinforcement from all the parents and all that voter, and that's what I spoke about in the classroom. If your parent's not a voter, they need to get hold of me. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if second or third grader's gonna respond to that, but I had to say it. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that it's a goal of the board as well, too. Chromebooks, and everybody was pretty much in tune with them. We do need to have a finance meeting very shortly, so we can schedule that one day shortly, probably within the next 2 weeks, I would say. And also, the board needs to have a work session, so we also need to look at that as well, too. Sporting events are going on, football, soccer, volleyball. Kids are having fun. I did speak to, just so the board, I'll fill you in on this, I did speak to one of our teachers that are helping us with the athletic eligibility program. And according to Mr. O'Hanlon, there is something online that the kid's gonna actually go get, or he's working on, where they go into the classroom, and if they miss something, they can also look online and try and get it as well, too. So I had a nice little meeting with him, and he was real happy with, you know, the turnout and what the kids are looking to do. And so I think we elected to do the right thing. And I think the teachers are looking forward to it as well, too, to helping. So heard some good things about that as well, too. I just wanted to inform you guys of that as well. After that, we'll go into other business, and we'll figure out our work session, and we'll get some dates. All right, fair enough? All right. All right, now we're going to move on to the approval of minutes, financial statements, and our reader tonight is Mrs. Barczyk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Resolved that the minutes of the following Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meetings is hereby reaffirmed and approved. Regular meeting, August 15th, 2017, and special meeting, August 31st, 2017.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of receipts and expenditures for the month of August 2017, including all purchase orders, all paid and all then and now statements for the month of August as submitted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Questions, or can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves that the district has adopted and is reinforcing a nutrition standards that consider the requirements of Ohio Revised Code 3313.814, and governs the types of foods and beverages that may be sold on the premises of the school.
Can I have a
I'm
motion,
having
please?
tongue-tied tonight.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, this is a standard annual policy resolution. You know, nutritional standards, meaning that when we sell something, it's got to be whole grains. can't sell things that are of high calorie intake, you know, particular things. So just,
Sugar,
yeah, so we just need to, that's something we do annually.
Does that include Krispy Kreme?
That is after school time, so
After
thankfully that
3:11.
isn't,
How about Bob's
The
Burgers?
stadium.
How about Bob's Burgers?
My burgers will do you just fine.
can I have a, Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education approves entering into an agreement under the auspices of the federal government's Safe Routes to School program. The agreement is with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for the 2017-2018 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
this is the approval of those two grants. In the past, we've talked about these. Those grants go to increase pedestrian and cycling safety. Monies go to bike rodeo, touch a truck, the Brooklyn Get Going 5K, some of those activities.
It's a joint with the city,
That's
a little
correct.
bit, yeah.
They come from ODOT, but yes, the joint with the city.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the application for the following fundraiser activities on file in central office. Hold on one second, I just lost my thing. Okay, organization Avid is the Mally's Chocolate Bar Sale. Are those nutritional standards? Are those whole grain?
We're not selling them out of the school itself,
Just
so.
asking.
Told
I
her
love
always
Mally's,
nutrition
though.
for
I
me,
love it. Mally's is great. And then elementary and intermediate schools are Olive Garden's Pennies for Patients program campaign for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with the Educational Service Center of Cuyahoga County for admission of students for educational purposes for the school year 2017-2018. Visual impairments agreement on file in the treasurer's office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Second, I'll second it. Questions, comments, please?
Questions. Dr. Glykoff, how many students participate that we have to service through the Educational Service Center for visual and the hearing impairment?
Visual impairments,
Do we have a number? Two?
One has more services than another.
So our contract says as needed, so it doesn't make a difference if it's one student
Yes,
That's
or
correct.
10 students, correct?
correct. It's an hourly rate based on the need that we have.
Okay, so that can fluctuate.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's more of a per diem than like a flat contract? Okay, all right, thank you.
and this will pay for a teacher of visually impairment as well as a mobility specialist, so.
Good?
Good.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into agreement with the Educational Service Center of Cuyahoga County for the admission of students for educational purposes for the school year of 2017-2018. Audio and hearing impairment services agreement on file in the treasurer's office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, similar?
Very similar. It pays for an audiologist to work with these particular students.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into agreement with the Educational Service Center of Cuyahoga County Achievement Center for Children for the placement of students into their education program per ORC 3323.08 for the 2017-2018 school year on file in the treasurer's office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, Dr. Glykoff?
Yeah, we have one student who attends the achievement centers. So, again, per their IEP, their individual education plan. So,
Okay.
this contract reflects, I think, a $30 increase per month from last year's contract.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into agreement with Monarch School for the placement of students into their education program per ORC 3323.08 for the 2017-2016 school year. Agreement on file in the treasurer's office.
2017, 2018.
Sorry, 2017-2018. What did I say?
27, 2016. That's all
Oh.
right, you're fine.
Sorry.
That's fine. Questions or, can I have a motion? Threw me all off.
You're getting contagious.
Yes, I am.
So
I'm like,
moved.
oh.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Monarch School as as another school for students with autism. This is a new one this year. We had a student who was previously at Steps and then now has moved to Monarch School. So where the money won't be sent to Steps, now we're going to Monarch in this case.
Is it a flat rate? Is it like a year tuition?
It's a year's tuition.
How much is the year's tuition per student?
Year's tuition there is quite high, $79,000.
How many students do we have there?
One student.
Okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
What do we have as far as enrollment in steps last year? Do we
I'm
know?
going to have to ask some help from Mrs.
And
Jones.
transferring, we have one other student still at SEPS.
So we have two we have students in steps still,
One student there.
one student, and then one in Monarch.
Right.
How much is the tuition for steps? Just curious, I think the public needs to understand when they, we talk about
Approximately
financing,
75.
that they need to understand that,
About 75.
I can get you those, but they're all pretty significant. You make a good point, Ms. Barcheck. We are always concerned about that.
Yeah.
That, it's tough because, you're guided by an IEP.
Yep.
And we're mandated to follow those, and sometimes we cannot provide the services for students with such unique needs here in our schools that we have to have them served in an outside school. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine a parent having to foot the bill on something like this for their child, so it's good that we have this.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
The superintendent recommends the first reading of the following policies and bylaws as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
No,
Can I-
none needed.
Oh,
First
we
reading.
gotcha. My bad. So used to saying that.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves salary schedule placement for the 2017-2018 school year as follows. Holly Heupel, Class 5, Step 16. Michelle McQueen, Class 5, Step 18.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, these two teachers have just completed coursework that would move them on the salary schedule from Class 4 to Class 5, so that happens on the teacher's contract.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract to the following certified personnel for the 2017-2018 school year as tutors to be paid from the annual federal Title I funds received by the school district. Christina Batcha, 7.75 hours per day, 184 days, Step 2. Kim Faircloth, 7.75 hours per day, 184 days, Step 2. Amanda Kaninsky, sorry if I butchered your last name, 7.75 hours per day, 184 days, Step 1. And Jennifer Bayer, 7.75 hours per day, 184 days, Step 1.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yes, these are our Title I tutors, as Ms. Barcheck said. These are paid for from our federal Title I dollars. So you'll note that two of those teachers, Ms. Kineski and Ms. Bayer, they are new to us, this district this year. So.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following personnel as a long-term substitute. Giovanni Lacognita, long-term substitute, 7th grade social studies.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
He is for a teacher who is on medical leave right now.
Can I I met him yesterday, too.
It went to, I skipped thing. I have to go back to 5.3.
Did you miss one?
Yeah.
Did you miss one?
Yeah, I went, my iPad took me to that one, so I missed
I missed-
5.3.
Yeah, I missed 5.3.
Yeah, it was 5.6 that I just read.
I was
So
wondering.
do you want me to read it again and not vote on it now?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do
let's just
five.
go back to 5.3.
5.3, and
Go
then
back to
I'll
5.3.
read it again then? Okay.
Mr. I missed a page. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, what happened? I'm like,
I went
Yeah.
along with it, so.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2017-2018 supplemental teaching assignment with the provision that such individuals comply with all rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certifications and fulfill the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
just some of your standard certified supplemental contracts.
What is LPDC, please?
Local Professional Development Committee. They are the committee of 5, which includes administrators as well as teachers who kind of guide the licensure for all the certified folks. So we have to go through them here locally before it gets to the state.
Glad to see the power of the pen.
Yeah,
Back.
yeah, it's nice to see that the power of the pen is strong.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes,
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2017-2018 supplemental coaching assignment with the provision that such individuals comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certification and/or first aid training and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts. Annie Burr, Faculty Manager, Fall/Winter, George Timmis, Faculty Manager, Fall/Winter, and Debbie Hall, JV Volleyball Coach.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
second.
Questions, comments?
Again, your standard supplementals for athletics. The one addition that was a late one here is our JV volleyball coach. Miss Hall is actually doing both the varsity and the JV.
Thought so.
What does a faculty manager do?
Interesting you asked me that question. I was the first one in this district. So what a faculty manager does is really manages the facilities for a sporting event. For example, if the athletic director or a principal may not be there in attendance, or they may, they help with the officials, they may help with some of the crowd, they may help with a variety of tasks.
They come to the booster stand and said, "Can we get some water for the refs?" I'd say, "Yeah, okay,
Jack
take
of all
it."
trades.
Okay, good answer.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes,
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract for the 2017-2018 school year to the following certified teachers. Lisa Foley, second grade elementary teacher, class 5, step 5. Alexander Kurtich, intervention specialist, class 2, step 1.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
second.
Questions, comments?
Sorry if I butchered your last name.
Miss Foley, you know, because we had to open that second grade class, and by the way, that group class now is up to 95, so I think we made the
wow.
right call there. Alexa is the teacher we hired late, the intervention specialist for that self-contained classroom, Mr. Szymanski's position, so.
Excuse me.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes,
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves employment of the following personnel as a long-term substitute. Giovanni Lacognita, long-term substitute, 7th grade, social studies.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
second.
Questions, comments?
Mr. L, again, is the long-term sub in 7th grade for a teacher out on medical leave.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes,
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following certified personnel for the 2017-2018 school year. Kathleen Kushler, custodial cleaner, Appendix B, Step 2, effective August 17th, 2017. Joyce Hennings, custodial cleaner, Appendix B, Step 1, effective August 28th, 2017. Margaret Schneider, custodial cleaner, Appendix B, Step 1, effective September 12th, 2017.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Again, these are 3 hires of cleaners over the last month since our last meeting. Again, due to openings from either resignations or moving to other spots.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Abstain.
Okay. My pad is working on getting there. Whereas due to the lack of work, it is necessary for the board to make reduction in classified staff. Can't as note this, correct? I gotta read it all, right? Correct?
Yeah, let's do
Can I
that.
read it all? Okay.
Sure.
It is therefore resolved as follows. In conformance with Article 12 of the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local Number 436, the following position will be reduced as of August 17th, 2017. 1. Bus monitor. In conformance with Article 12 of the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local Number 436, the following classified staff member has been identified as the one who holds the bumped position effective August 17th, 2017. Linda Pruzak. The treasurer is directed to provide notification of the board's action to the aforementioned, aforementioned, tonight
Take
is
some
just a
water.
guess. Employee and provide information on continuation of benefits and recall rights as contained in the collective bargaining agreement. Be it further resolved that it is hereby found and determined that all formal action of the Board of Education concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolutions were adopted in an open meeting of the board, and that all deliberations of the board and all of its committees that resulted in such formal meetings open to the public were, when required by law, were in full compliance with the law.
Can I have a motion, please?
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Sure, let me explain. So when Mrs. Neal was doing the staffing for bus monitors at the beginning of the year, it was deemed that we only needed 3 monitors as opposed to we had 4. So at that point, we needed to, activate the RIF. The good news on this side is that Ms. Pruzak also is a cleaner in the district. And so she actually picked up another cleaning position. She's actually in the new daily position that goes 191 days for 7 hours a day. So it's kind of a good news, bad news thing. Yeah, we had to cut this position, but she's also found other employment within the district. So.
Good. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of the following classified employees: Lisa Yannick, classroom assistant, effective August 31st, 2017, and Lori Wyruck, accounting clerk 2, effective September 22nd, 2017.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? I'll second it. Questions, comments?
Yeah, this is a tough one. We got 2 really quality, employees that we're losing just to, other opportunities, things they wanted to pursue, so.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal? Mr.
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr.
This is
Hennings?
an as.
Yes.
I was gonna say, this is an as noted, please. Result of the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the hours and days of the following staff during the 2017-2018 school year as noted.
Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Can I have a second? I'll second it. Questions, comments? Summary?
Yeah, I'll give you the Reader's Digest on this one. Because I try to do this in my board backup as well. There's some big things that have, overall, there's a reduction of hours and positions here. The big ones to note, you realize we went down 1 secretarial position this year, so that's a reduction there. We just spoke about bus aides and bus monitors. That's a reduction of 1 there. One of the cleaning positions has been a reduction of 70 days at 7 hours a day. So there's a pretty big reduction. In terms of things that were added, we did have a classroom assistant position that we added 20 minutes a day. It was for the needs of a particular student, getting them in transportation. And then monitors on a whole were added to, as a compilation, 1 hour and 20 minutes. And that was due to having like tardy tables at both of our buildings to help with daily attendance. So on a whole, there's a lot of reduction here, but there are some pluses that have been added too.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr. Neal, I did not hear the second on that. Does anyone remember who?
That was me.
Okay. Easy.
Gotcha. Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Abstain.
Resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following substitute personnel for the 2017-2018 school year as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
I have a question. It says Linda Prusak, bus monitor.
She would be an on-call sub.
Oh, so
That's like an on-call list.
she resigned from the permanent position and she's out for on-call.
Yes, she could be used as a sub, or her position was riffed. But if one of the other monitors is out for the day and she's got the ability to sub, she can do that.
Okay, I was a little confusing because I saw her.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else?
What happens if are these all in the same area of, like,
Classification.
yes, like, so I'm, what happens then? Do they just get paid the hourly rate of the thing that they're substituting for, or?
What they're substituting for.
Okay.
Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result of the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following CATS employees for the 2017-2018 school year. Debbie
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
2017-2018 school year, Debbie Colai, 6 hours per day, Linda Mahalik, 5 hours and 30 minutes per day, and Natasha Swecker, 2 hours per day.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
I'll just make my comment now for both of these. The CATS program, again, is our pre and before and after care that we have here. And they set them these hours and wages on a yearly basis. So this is an approval. Again, remember that CATS is a self-sustaining program, so that the money they take in actually pays these salaries.
Okay. Anybody else? Mrs. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result of the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following CATS Club staff wages for the 2017-2018 school year. Debbie Colai, $14.03 per hour, Linda Mahalik, $13.44 per hour, and it's Natasha Swecker, $10.92 per hour.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Oper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Result of the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the appropriations for fiscal year 2018. I've been saying 2017, 2018.
Right. Yeah, it says that, why, 18, no.
2018. Fiscal year 2018. Good.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments, Mr. Street?
So I need to have the board adopt these appropriations before October 1st. And when I bring you the 5-year forecast in October, between now and then, I'll have looked over the appropriations about 10 times to make sure that I have everything I can think of at this point in time. Get with some staff members that we've talked a little bit, but I have to get some more information to make sure of some of the things like in special ed or technology, to get better ideas of budgets there. But there are no surprises in the appropriations thus far. So that's what you'll be approving tonight. And then as I come to you with the 5-year forecast, it will put everything together between revenues and expenditures.
My question to you is, you said you're gonna have this done by the end of the month, is that what I heard you say?
It has to be approved by the board, what you're doing tonight,
Correct.
Before October the 1st.
Okay.
So
It'll be
these-
done approximately when?
Well, it's done now. It's what you're approving, and it's what we call permanent appropriations, but they can be amended throughout the year like you folks do.
Correct.
But, so this would be the first permanent appropriations that you are approving this year. The other appropriations that you approved in July were temporary to get us from July to October 1st, basically, and then these will be permanent appropriations that we can amend through the year as I make sure that have all the expenditures that we're going to do accounted for.
What we will do as the finance committee, and I think Mr. Singh will agree with this, we will go over this and we will verify, all right?
Yes,
In one of our finance committee meetings?
yes, that would be fine.
Good with that, Mr. Singer?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it'll be part of our finance committee meeting, next one or the one after, whichever one we could fit it in on.
Okay.
All righty? Anybody else? Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
Do we have any correspondence related to action information?
I do not have any, Mr. President.
Mr. Street?
Not at this time.
Okay. Have any other business?
We're gonna set the date for the meeting now.
Yeah, let's look at our calendars. We need to have a work session for the report card, a work session. We actually need a couple dates to get some things done. So what's today's date, the 19th?
I'm available every day next week except for Wednesday.
Let's look at Wednesday.
Yeah, works. Got off the
Convenient for you. Wow.
Yes,
I'm being sarcastic.
I know.
Let's look at, everybody look at their calendar. Let's try to get, I think what has worked for us in the past is like a Monday evening or
Yeah, it's fine.
The 25th.
Thursdays or
Monday's
whatever.
good
So
for
we
me.
need to get one squared away for the report card, one for a executive session material. So why don't we shoot a few dates at me via text messages tonight or tomorrow morning,
Okay.
tomorrow sometime. Let's look at,
The
we're in
25th and
Tuesday,
28th?
yeah, look at 25th,
I'm gonna
20.
tell you right now, both those days are bad for me.
Okay.
Okay, so
And 25th will probably be bad for me, 'cause I'll be
Okay.
at a funeral.
26th, the Tuesday, the 26th, is that good?
26th actually, right now, looks pretty good.
Sep 26th. Let's look at the 26th, and then the following week, let's look at that at 1st of October, whatever that might be.
That would be the first Monday is your meeting, correct?
Right.
So the 3rd is, October 3rd is a Tuesday.
And sometimes a Wednesday works for everybody too,
Yeah.
so. Let's look at the 26th of September. Let's tentatively put that in, everybody gets back to me on it. And then on October 3rd, and if we have to move it to the Wednesday, the 27th, and the 4th, or whatever, we can do
The
that.
3rd doesn't work for me, I've got an obligation for
Yeah,
the,
the 3rd is not
Yeah.
gonna work for
Yeah,
me. either.
okay.
The fourth
So-
doesn't work for me.
27 might be bad for me with
So
the
the
new
5th?
job.
All right.
Thursday the 5th.
I gotta
It
go
looks
for
like we're
Well, the
gonna send
27th is
Mr. Neal
out for
some
me, that's
dates
Wednesdays.
and.
Yeah,
figure
let's
out-
get one at a time.
And then you
Yeah.
can figure out when.
one week at a time.
When all five of us.
Let's do September
6, 7 of
26th
us.
tentatively,
Tuesday, yeah, the 26th.
right?
That might be
Yes.
better.
We'll do September 26th, pretty solid. Would everybody please text me and just let me know for sure? All right.
Okay.
And 6 o'clock? Unless we can go earlier, that's up to you people. Other business, that one. And then we'll go, for the second meeting, we'll try and get that squared away. Look at your schedules, October 5th. It looks like that would be like a Thursday. Sometimes Thursday did work for us.
Yeah,
The
Thursday's fine
5th
with me.
actually looks better for me.
Yeah, the
All right,
Thursday the
let's
5th
look at
works for me.
October 5th, but we'll verify that here in the next few days.
Is that Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that works for me.
okay.
doesn't work? Well, we'll get it, we'll get there. And if we gotta do it to the following week, because that'll be, I think we'll do the executive session next week, and then we'll do the report card work session. You gotta make sure your schedule's available as well, too, please. All right, so we'll fill you in. Yeah, let's do that, let's do the executive session first,
Okay.
okay? And then the following week, we'll get the work session for report card, or any other we need to go. Everybody good with that? All right. Announcement of next regular board meeting of the Board of Education will be Tuesday, October 17th in the Media Center located in the intermediate/elementary school, 9200 Biddulph Road, Brooklyn, Ohio, 6 PM. I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Street, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Barcheck?
Yes.
Mr. Neal?
Yes.
Mr. Singer?
Yes.
Mr. Roper?
Yes.
And Mr. Hennings?
Yes.
7:40.